Welcome to Water to Wine, a drink of wisdom. This episode is titled The Valley of Dry Bones, Birth, Trauma, and the Breath of God. Childbirth is the only time in human experience where life and death sit at the same table. What happens when the joy of birth is met with the shadow of death? It sounds like the plot of a thriller, doesn't it? There's a room in every hospital and a space in every home where the veil between this world and the next becomes impossibly thin. We call it the delivery room, ICU, a labor ward, name it. To the world, and a growing number of theorists and scholars, it's a place of joy, pink and blue blankets, and celebration. But for a woman in labor, it's a high-stake battlefield where you're preparing to meet the foreign influence, which is the unknown, and the demographic engineering, which is science, and spiritual warfare that brings in divinity. Today's episode is dedicated to all the loved ones we have lost to the groanings of childbirth. As you get comfortable, pour yourself a drink, and prepare to connect with Pamela and I. Today's featured wine is the Foreign Affairs Conspiracy, a red blend from the Niagara Peninsula in Canada. Have you ever stood on edge? Maybe for you the monitor started screaming. Maybe the lights got too bright. The voices of the doctors faded in a hum. And you felt yourself slipping into a valley you aren't prepared to walk through. The scriptures are honest about the conspiracy and mystery of childbirth. They tell us of Rachel who breathed her last while her son breathed his first. They tell us about Hannah whose soul was so weathered by the weight and the labor that people thought she was drunk with grief. Sarah who laughed at God's promise because to human comprehension she saw no possibility. Today, all the mothers who walk through the valley of the shadow of death and bring life back out of it, you are a testimony of how God needs us in the dark, even when the darkness feels like it may swallow us. We welcome our guest. I will let her introduce herself and we'll get to know her. Welcome on the podcast.
Thank you. My name is Pamela and I'm very happy to be here. I'm a mom, a wife, a friend, a sister, obviously a daughter, and a person who likes to make a difference wherever I go.
Very excited to have you on the podcast. So Pamela, tell us about your relationship with God. Who is Pamela growing up?
I grew up in a small town in Uganda, very close to the source of the Nile. Yes, and from there I went through Catholic school. I would say one of the best schools in Uganda, St. Mary's Namagonga, for my secondary school education. And then to Makerere University, I worked in one of the biggest breweries in Uganda. And then I went on to serve in foreign service and Ministry of Finance. And I would say I have a strong relationship with God. I was brought up a Christian in the Anglican Church, and I think since I was very young, I really believed in God. But of course, there have been personal experiences along the way that made me even have more confidence and be able to ask God and expect an answer, or know that He will definitely have an answer for me, or He's always working for my good, regardless of what it is. Because sometimes things are difficult, sometimes things are rough, tough, but in it all, I always know that He will do the best for me.
Amazing. So I have known you for some time now, and you have an impeccable resume. From the highest education accolade to a rewarding and fulfilling career. Take us to a place where you decided now it's time for motherhood.
I found my way to Uganda, and that's where my motherhood journey began, or God began. Motherhood, marriage, usually it's expected that once you're done with school, you'll get married, have kids, start your family, and move on in your career, whatever you decided to do. I took a while, and working got the better of me, and it no longer became like my first priority. Journey of motherhood, I can say that it's not always straightforward. I did have a miscarriage, and that was sad, but I always look at life in a more positive light. So much as it might have given me some questions as to whether I would not have a child or children, I was more positive in that I was like, if God did make me conceive, then I think there is hope. And I could say that I had my kids really late, or I decided to get married much later. I just thought it must be perfect, and I guess it only became perfect much later in life. Like Sarah, I could say you have to just trust and believe that if there's a miracle for you, you just have to wait upon the Lord. Because often, even if someone gives you hope or says, oh, it's possible, sometimes it just doesn't look like it is possible. So you have to trust that God will do something for you, and also you can try to use the medical interventions available to you. You can use prayer. You can seek some advice, because there are times when the challenges that are being faced are things that you can work around, and sometimes it's just because you don't know. Sometimes it could be the timing, it could be many things, but I just want to give hope that nothing is impossible in most cases. So just keep trying and do the best you can, and don't lose hope.
Thank you so much, Pamela, for sharing that. And in scripture, we often saw women faced with barren wilderness moments or seasons, and the focus was always on the womb of the woman. And that is also in African culture as well. When a woman cannot conceive, it's her fault. No one points to the man, they always point to the woman. But as the story of God unfolds, we see that his definition of motherhood, legacy, and fruitfulness is much wider than just an organ, which is a womb. For God, he did not just look at Hannah's empty womb, he looked at her tears. So thank you for encouraging someone to pray. Those tears are a prayer as well. Be encouraged that in God and with God, anything is possible. The next question is going to be around, now you're pregnant, you're now going to the hospital. The hospital is now a foreign land, because this child is, like they're in the womb. That is a different, a different realm and a different land, right? Were you always prepared with a bag? Walk us through that journey.
I read many books. I listened to many videos, podcasts. I got pretty knowledgeable, attended classes, and yes, got ready. Little did I know that childbirth, sometimes the timing, the doctor's timing, may not always be God's timing. I had prepared to go to a certain hospital, have somewhere else from where I was, and just maybe a few days before I was supposed to go, because I knew that I would have maybe better care there, I just went for a checkup, and my doctor said that I had to stay in the hospital.
Wow.
So obviously that plan had to change. At first I didn't know what to expect, but I was just hopeful that my doctor had made the best decision for my son. One of them, I went every day. The doctor told me, you probably go home today, and I didn't leave the hospital until I had him. And he was early. He had to go into special care for a couple of weeks. My children always came very early, much earlier than expected due date. I just learned to be ready. Let me just say anytime. Motherhood is usually a learning process. You learn something every day.
Perfect, thank you. That sounds like the deep waters that the psalmist talked about. We often think we are going to plan, but God's plans are always His, right? You plan, He unplans. He replans, He redirects you, right? So thank you for bringing us into that reality that we will never always be perfect. Many people describe a liminal or out of body sensation during some medical crises. You have mentioned that some of your kids came a little bit earlier, so I'm assuming that ICU was involved, or like there was this medical crisis at hand, because the time they're keeping you, then of course it's a medical crisis, right? Take us through that journey and how God was for you in that moment. Was it a moment of plea, surrender, profound silence for you? Walk us through that moment.
I was into the hospital. I was told the baby might come early, but they hope and pray that he stays in a little longer so that he can grow and become stronger and be able to breathe on his own and all that. And of course, there are usually medical interventions that they do to help if there is some feeling that the baby might have to be delivered early. They will usually make some medical interventions, and that was what was done when I got to the hospital, because they gave me a bit of time, but they didn't know what was going to happen. At a certain point, my pressure was very high, and it became a problem, and it became an emergency, because it wasn't going low as expected, despite the intervention.
And that was that threat to the child, right?
Yes, they told me they had to deliver the child early. When I went to the hospital, at least I informed some
the right people.
Yes, some people, friends and family members who were there with me when I was told that now it's becoming an emergency. One of my children was born 28 weeks, that's like 3 months early, so he had to spend 3 months in the hospital. Yeah, it was different. He was very tiny. I would just pocket him.
Wow, 3 months.
Yeah, most of my kids actually did go to special care, so it was something that I learned to be my normal. And yet, of course, sometimes we would wonder, how can you go home without a child or without your child? And I just felt very thankful that at least the child had come. They had to be taken care of by other people, maybe more professional people at that point, for their well-being. I had to trust that after some time they would be able to come home. When I look back now, I feel like maybe I did not take the situation as seriously as most people around me were taking it. But I could say I was very sick. So I just trusted God, and I think I just surrendered to God, and I said, you know what, my life is in your hands. Whatever you decide for me, it will be the best that it is. Whatever it is that you decide, because I didn't know whether I would be fine, whether I wouldn't be okay, if the child would be fine, if they wouldn't be okay. But I just trusted God, and I said, you know what, I give everything to you.
Thank you, Pamela. Our next question is going to be around the ICU moment where they made the decision to stand for birth. Walk us through what that emergency, walk us through what it felt like.
When I had a C-section, I was told that I would be semi-conscious, and thankfully I feel like it did not take too long. I still could see, hear what was going on around me, and thankfully they would also explain, now you're going to feel this, now you're going to do that. So it was not as scary as I thought it would be. And yes, God was with me. It's just that obviously I expected like a quick recovery immediately after, but after that it was as if I got sick and more sick after. Yet it was expected that once the baby was born and all, most likely you're going to get better. But I had to stay a bit longer in the hospital so I could get.
Did you seek support from the medical team? Did you have a community that supported you during this period? So talk to a parent that's going through depression or going through anxiety. Like, walk us through that so that you can help somebody out there.
I met other moms some of whom were really like devastated, because I think having a preemie child sometimes it takes a toll on your emotional being. For some people, they are very scared, not knowing what to expect. First of all, the children look a bit different. They are usually tiny. They are, they have tubes everywhere, breathing, feeding. They are kept in incubators. Sometimes it's a bit scary to see your child with all this, and you just wonder whether they are going to come out normal and okay. Some people get detached, some are scared. So even interacting with other moms, it was something for me to learn, and also a place for me to appreciate that many times moms need a lot of support along the journey. Yeah, many moments are tough, they are difficult. One, you don't know what to expect. But those special situations or different situations, sometimes when you speak to a mom who's going through the same situation, who has been through a similar situation, they encourage you and know that these moments usually are just for a season. They don't last forever. So you just have to build your strength through them every day. And think positively about that situation. If you're able to get up and walk, you thank God that you can actually get up and walk. If your child is breathing, you learn to appreciate whatever progress that is made every day, both on your part and on the child's part. And you also appreciate what you learn as you go along, because motherhood is a learning process. Every day you learn something new about yourself. Sometimes you're pushed to limits, and it sort of opens up a door for you to know that, sometimes I can be stretched a little bit more than I had thought I would ever be. And you can really feel the love, share the love, show the love, that you probably never knew that deep there somewhere there in you. Because it needs a lot of patience. It's a learning process, really. It's a learning curve.
Have you been contacted by anybody going through something similar to share and comfort them? And what were the words of comfort that you gave that person? Run us through that moment.
Yeah, one situation was mom had a preemie child. They did not expect that. It was scary. It was traumatizing. I think I can't even know what she expected or what her biggest fear was, but I just thought that maybe they didn't know. They were too scared and did not want to get attached to the child lest anything happen to them. And my advice was take one step at a time, one day at a time. At this point, the best that you can offer and what you have to offer is your love. Care as much as you can. Be there. And one of the things that sometimes I was reminded of was when I was in boarding school and we were waiting for our parents to come and visit us. And I just imagined what it would feel like if I was waiting and my parent didn't come. So that's how I thought about it sometimes. And even when I was low, discouraged, tired, not wanting to go to the hospital, I just thought about it like that. So that's how I encouraged the mom, and I told her a similar story, and I said, just get the courage, go and see your baby. Whatever happens, at least you will have given the best that you could give. And just trust that even the medical staff will do the best you can. But you also give them encouragement to give even better care, maybe by being there and showing that you also care. So that was the beginning, and she did take a step, I think a leap of faith, and did start going, and she actually developed an even deeper loving relationship, and she started viewing her baby in a different light. It became easier for her to go see the baby. It became interesting for her to see the progress, and she was actually more encouraged every day. And finally, the baby did leave the hospital, and she felt more normal, more comfortable about the baby after that. And I was very glad that at least I was part of the process, of the healing process, and she was better.
Wow. Wow. That's all I can say, because you touched a soul out there that needed that, and for me it's the transformation, and that's why we are on Water to Wine, because that's a water to wine moment. You transformed somebody's life that was really stuck in the water form, stuck in the problem, stuck in the situation, that was looking for a miracle, that was looking for God to come into and intervene, and look at you saving that mom and giving that mom hope, and showing that mom that there is life on the other side of the situation she was walking through. So that is a water to wine moment right there that you just shared, Pam. So thank you so much. I wanted to close that whole section by just saying that every time we feel lost, help me here, discouraged, helpless, God is there.
God is always there. You just have to call upon Him. Let our needs or wants be known to God, and allow Him to do what His will is for us. If it's according to His plan, and if it's in line with what His plans are for us, then He will work on it.
Thank you, Pamela, and thank you for your time with us on Water to Wine. As we close our time together, Pamela and I want to speak a blessing over every heart listening to us, especially those of you who carry the invisible marks of a threshold moment. May you recognize that the body which was broken, the breath that faltered, and the spirit that touched the edge of eternity are all held in the hands of the one who first breathed life into the dust. To the woman trusting and believing for a miracle, we encourage and remind you that your spirit is where God's life dwells. You can still conceive hope, birth purpose, and nurture others while you wait until the promise, like Sarah. While your body shows signs of impossibilities, your calling as a mother is ordained and remains God-given. To the mother who felt the shadow of death closer than her own heartbeat, may you know that you are a victor, not just a survivor. And like Jacob, who wrestled with the divine and came away limping but blessed,
May you find that your scars are a testament to a strength you never knew you possessed. To the family who stood in the hallway, waiting for news between worlds. Those who didn't get the miracle of a homecoming, but instead received a legacy of profound sacrifice like Rachel. May the peace that passes all understanding guard your hearts. May the son of your sorrow truly become the sons of your right hand, a living reminder that hope can be resurrected from the deepest crisis. To the child who was born through the fire, and to the children who will one day ask about the mother who stood at the gates of life and gave her own breath so that theirs could begin. May you all grow up knowing you are fought for, not by medicine, but by the love that refused to let go. And for the mothers that lost it all like Naomi, may God redefine and restore you by bringing Ruth into your lives to remind you of the love in your hearts, and a family is chosen by God. May He reveal a different and equally powerful way to be a mother of many, like Deborah, who was a mother to a nation. Your capacity to love and nurture is a gift from God's Spirit. God is a master of crafting us into families we didn't expect and giving us children we didn't give birth to, but who call us blessed just the same. We hope that you have been encouraged. We hope that you have enjoyed your time with us on this podcast. And until next time, remember to share this episode to somebody that will need it, that needs to hear the word of God or needs to hear the comfort. Like, subscribe, share, and tell us which Bible character you relate with the most on your motherhood journey. Is it Sarah, the long wait, Hannah, the deep prayer, or Rachel, where you have lost somebody to a sacrifice? And we have Benjamins living in the land of the living. Leave a comment to encourage us or engage with us. I remain your host, Fafa. Shalom. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.